Welcome back to Tiny Blue Games. My name is, of course, Csaw or Chris, and today we're talking about World of Warcraft in 2022. And specifically, we're talking about Wrath Classic. So this is something I've been actively debating doing for the last few months, I'd say, but certainly since pre-patch came out, and that's jumping into Wrath Classic, but also making videos about it. Now, anyone who's watched this channel pretty regularly knows that I do play World of Warcraft. I've played on and off again for many years. I've played Shadowlands. I'll probably play Dragonflight on and off again. And I've really wanted to get into the Wrath Classic or any of the classics throughout the time that they've been out, but I've always kind of been hesitant, or I've tried and not really gotten that invested. And there's a few reasons for this, and I kind of want to talk about those throughout this video. But just before we get into that, the background, you'll see me creating my Wrath character. You'll see me go through the first episode of our journey, which is getting from 1 to 10, and doing a lot of the starter zone quests and just really taking things pretty slow. I've never played a Blood Elf. I've never really even played that many Horde characters back in Classic, so I got to kind of explore a lot of the different zones and really, be introduced to a lot of these quests. With that, I had some intense trouble and actually did have to jump in and get a few add-ons to help things out, and really kind of just find my own pace in the leveling experience. But we'll talk a bit more about the enjoyment and what I've enjoyed so far at the end of this video. Just before that, I want to talk about, the kind of purpose of this series. And it is going to be a series of videos, and I'm always hesitant whenever I do launch a new series on this channel because, people have questions. This does not negate any of our current series. We're going to still be playing Final Fantasy XIV. We're going to still be playing Guild Wars 2. It doesn't stop anything. It's just a new thing that I'm swinging into the mix. It's probably going to be the least consistent of many of my series. I'd expect there to be a fair bit of content up to and around the launch of Wrath, and then it'll probably slow down as I slow down in my leveling process and stuff like that as well. So just kind of what I'd expect going forward. But the big reason I wanted to jump into this is because Wrath holds a pretty special place in my heart. It is the first World of Warcraft expansion I ever played. It actually is also the time where I first used the character name Csaw for the first time. I was a Pally in Wrath named Csaw. He was a human. I wanted to go Horde this time to change things up, but he was a human, Csaw, Pally. And, it really was a character that I fell in love with. And that's why I use the name Csaw in any game that I can use it in the future from this point. It was just a character that I identified with. And I hold a lot of special meanings and, memories to that. And I think a lot of people do for Wrath. I do think there's a lot of, peak World of Warcraft play in Wrath, but I'm not one of those people who thinks, it was the absolute pinnacle of WoW. I do think there's a lot that other expansions have added, and a lot of things that I'm probably going to miss while leveling through through Wrath or getting to the end of the game, where I'm going to be like, oh, really? This is how it's done? So I think it'll kind of be a fun mixture of enjoying past memories, but also being frustrated when things are harder than I remember them. But yeah, so that's kind of the scope for this. There's no real time frame or rushedness to this. I know I'm, starting this character literally a few days before launch. People have been planning out their characters for months and getting them prepared and stuff like that. I'm in no ways going to be, max level, probably even at launch or near launch. And I'm going to be not one of the first people to reach level 80. It's just not what's going to happen. If you've learned anything from my Final Fantasy series, I love taking my time and doing things the way I want to do them. And it's something I try to implement in every single game or new gaming experience that I can. And that's one of the best parts about this series, is that I'm on a realm completely to myself. A lot of my friends didn't want to jump into Wrath Classic yet, so they're just choosing not to. And because of that, I have this opportunity to make my own character, go at my own pace, and really just do what I want to do. There's no, I'm not trying to fit a specific role in a group or something like that. And don't get me wrong, that's fun. I love doing that in retail. I love doing that in different MMOs, but I also love just having my own time with the game. If it's really getting lost in the quests, reading them, doing them, taking my time, if it's, kind of mindlessly mining or herbing and listening to podcasts or audiobooks or something like that, there's a relaxation factor that I tend to see people miss out on in some of the more modern MMOs, especially if they're trying to be cutting edge or if they're trying to keep up with friends or a guild. You can often get, too focused on the work aspects of an MMO and less focused on the enjoyment or why you actually got into MMOs to begin with. And if you're someone who is ever, sitting there and like saying, hey, do I just not like MMOs anymore? Maybe, but I honestly think you need to just try resetting things. Try either making a new character or playing on a different server or playing a different MMO and just take your time and enjoy it. Don't put deadlines, just do it every so often. Don't just switch cold turkey, but like have this kind of alternative character you can go and swap on and enjoy and try it out. I think it's a really great way to make things feel fresh and exciting again. And that's kind of what this is. This is, once again, one of those games that I can jump to keep the other games, the other MMOs I'm playing, fresh and feeling good. And let's be honest, it's fun to be a part of a launch, right? Like that's one of the big things in MMOs. When a new game is coming out, when a new expansion is launching, there's a huge amount of excitement. There's ads everywhere. People are all amped up. Creating a character and leveling, even in the pre-patch here, has been a lot of fun because I just see so much activity in the game and people doing stuff and wanting to do stuff. It's just a really exciting time to be a part of it. So it's really all of those reasons that kind of led me to want to jump into this series. We will be looking at my leveling experience. We'll be making a lot of videos kind of like we did in Final Fantasy, where it's sometimes just leveling focused, sometimes dungeon focused, sometimes focused on a game system or something like that. It just gives us a universe of videos that we can create. Maybe I'll get bored and it'll fizzle out, but I do want to try it. I think it's a great opportunity for this channel and a great opportunity for myself as an MMO enjoyer. So that's the start of the series, but I did want to do a bit of a recap of what you've seen in this video. It's probably just been jumping around to different aspects of my leveling. As I mentioned, I wanted to make a Horde character because I have very little experience on the Horde, with any of their starting zones, but specifically Blood Elves. I've done nothing here. This entire questing zone was completely new, and it was kind of fun to do. It was definitely challenging to the point where I needed to get Questy right away. It's an add-on that kind of just marks where things are on your map. Makes it more similar to retail questing, where you kind of have an idea of where things are, just to really at least make it manageable, because I tried doing it where I read it, but then I would just, I would get distracted and I'd get lost, and it's better this way for me. It's better. Don't judge me. Otherwise, we kept things pretty simple, just doing quests, really trying to, I kind of try to complete all of the quests I come across when doing a new character. I'm very much a completionist, but there's always a point where you kind of out-level the pace of the game, and then you're kind of like, you should probably move on, and I'm sure I'll face that eventually, especially once I mix in some PvP and some dungeons, because I love PvP and dungeons as well. There will be a lot of that in the leveling process. As a Pally, I have the opportunity to tank or heal. I'll probably do some tanking as well, so it'll kind of be fun that way. It'll be a fun parallel between Shadowbringers, where we'll be tanking on the Dark Knight and then tanking in WoW. So there'll be all of a sudden a lot of tanking Csaw videos, I think, which will be kind of fun for the channel too. It'll kind of be a theme of it, and it'll just be exciting. It is, I think it's called the Joyous Journeys buff that we do have up till the launch that gives, I think, 50% extra XP. So that's probably a large part of the reason why I'm kind of going faster than the zone's pace. That said, it's been really nice with the buff, and I'm kind of scared to see it go away and how slow I actually start leveling. But I'm hoping to keep at it and just, always make sure I go off and in whenever I get back onto the character. There's some rest XP, just kind of have it be that thing that's not a chore, but something I actively look forward to getting on and playing, right? Because that's the big thing with a lot of these MMOs, and it's going back to the arguments at the start of this video, is you can get lost in these games and think it's, a chore, that you have to get this list of things done each week and make sure you have it all perfect. But at the end of the day, if you're just doing the things you want to do, it should be fun. It should feel enjoyable. And I think this is one of those things. I was actually excited to start this character in this video. I was, for a while I was debating it. I was like, do I really want to play a new game? Do I want to do this? I did research about, the skills these characters had back in the day and how the Pally would play, how the game would play, what I could expect at Wrath Endgame, watching a lot of the videos coming out, and my kind of hesitation and worry of the effort of, starting a new game all of a sudden turned into this really big excitement of making a new character. naming it Csaw, learning my abilities, getting new talent points every level. That's the first thing I have to say from like the start of this. I think it's level 10 where you get your first talent point, and like the very first one I put in, I'm like, wow, that feels good. Like it feels like such a powerful increase each level, or when you get your new skill or something like that. It really feels like, you know, you're looking forward to each level, as opposed to just blindly waiting, or even like just waiting to end game, right? That's how it feels in retail sometimes, is you're making a character and your only goal is end game. You know, there's not like you don't care really when you get to level 5 or 10 or 30. Maybe you care a little bit getting to certain levels to do certain dungeons or certain questing zones, but really your goal is just set on 60 so quickly. Whereas in the classic journey, every little level, even like, you know, certain percentages of a level can feel like a goal that you've achieved, and it's just fun. But yeah, this is my start to my classic journey. It's a bit of a rambly video. There's been a couple Csaw videos back to back here, which is a little bit of a flip to old school Csaw, which I think is fun too. Don't worry, there will be streams coming for Final Fantasy and stuff like that, but it might be also fun to do some streams for some Wrath leveling as well as the days go on. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Wrath Classic. Are you going to jump into it? Did you play Wrath back in the day? What are your thoughts? Is it for you, or is it just something that you'll kind of enjoy from afar and watch people take down the Lich King again and stuff like that? But yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.